Hey there, fellow wanderers. Let's journey through the annals of time to a world of icy winds and flickering torches. Picture this. You find yourself on a rocky shore, under a sweeping Scandinavian sky. The air is sharp with the smell of sea salt, mingling with the earthy scent of a distant forest. The chill nips at your skin as the northern lights stretch above like vibrant brushstrokes across the star-dusted canvas. You stand in the shadows, your thoughts consumed by the harsh beauty and the untamed life that lies beyond the gently lapping waves. This moment you're in, it's distant, but profoundly real. The earth beneath your feet, the wind in your hair, it's a world so different from the one you know, but forged by the same human desires, fears, and triumphs. This is not a fairy tale. Here, we strip away the myths and caricatures to find the essence of Viking life, a civilization often reduced to mere pillages in popular culture. But the truth is nuanced, layered like the garments they wore, every thread, a story of survival, connection, and identity. So, before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. As your eyes adjust to the dim light, imagine stepping off a rugged longship, each wooden creak a reminder of the tumultuous sea behind you. You tread on frost-hardened soil, your breath clouding in the frigid air, as you find your way towards a bustling settlement nestled amid rolling hills and icy fjords. The Vikings, those infamous seafarers, are not just warriors of legend, but people whose lives pulsated with a rich tapestry of culture, family, and tradition. Contrary to popular belief, Vikings were not always raiding and plundering. They were farmers, traders, and explorers, living lives deeply interwoven with nature and the cycles of time. At the heart of every Viking community was the longhouse, a robust structure built from timber and thatch, resisting winds that swept across the Scandinavian landscapes. As you enter through the heavy wooden door, the waves of heat from an open hearth wash over you, dispelling the cold bite of the outside world. Inside, the atmosphere is lively but intimate. Shadows dance on the walls, painted by flames that roar and sizzle, the familiar smell of burning wood mingling with the aroma of stewed meats and baked bread. Here, you witness the meeting of family and friends. Conversations weave through the air, a blend of Old Norse words resonating with warmth and laughter, a stark contrast to the silence of the snow-laden world beyond the walls. The Viking longhouse served as more than just a shelter. It was the nucleus of communal life. It was where stories were passed down across generations, where children learned the art of their ancestors through oral tradition. In the corners, women spun wool into thick, sturdy garments, while men mended tools and weapons, their craftsmanship carving quiet legacies into the history of their people. Mainstream historical fact. The structure of a typical Viking longhouse was elongated, with doorways at the gable ends, facilitating community gatherings and fostering ties that bound tight-knit clans together. Even amidst such cozy confines, moments of solemnity were a constant companion. The crackle of firewood could not mask the outright realities that defined the Viking experience: harsh winters, scarce resources, and the ever-looming threat of conflict from rival clans or foreign invaders. And yet, it wasn't all grim. There's a glimmer of humor and camaraderie as you witness a boisterous group engaged in a friendly quarrel over a game of taffel, an intricate board game reminiscent of chess. Within these circles of camaraderie emerged a unique Viking spirit, a blend of fierce independence and deep-seated community loyalty. On certain nights, the air would buzz with more than laughter. The solemn tones of skaldic poetry echoed off timber, reciting sagas of gods and heroes. These tales, much like the warmth of the hearth, offered comfort and guidance during long, dark winters. Skilled skalds, or poets, spun words into tapestries of emotion and adventure, their verses not only entertaining, but reinforcing shared values and cultural identity, something akin to your favorite storyteller on YouTube today. Yet historians still argue whether these tales were purely entertainment, or if they carried deeper, more nuanced messages, possibly even political. Were they a means to preserve history, a tool for manipulating status, or simply a way to keep the spirits alive when the night stretched on interminably. The debate continues, lost to the whispers of time but alive in our quest to understand these ancient mariners of the north. So step through the shadows, let the warmth embrace you, and listen closely to the echoes of a world long past. Here, amid the sounds of crackling wood and the whispers of ancient sagas, you'll find the heartbeat of the Viking realm, a civilization defined by its fierce tenacity. Woven together through hardship, bound by storytelling, the Viking world awaits further exploration. And as you fall into the comforting embrace of your own hearth, remember the path ahead holds mysteries yet untold. Sweet dreams. You find yourself sitting near that roaring hearth, its flickering dance, a gentle reminder that warmth can exist even in the coldest lands. Your mind begins to wander, led by whispers of stories past, toward the intrigues of Viking social life. Romance, a universal thread in the tapestry of human experience, was no less vibrant in this icy realm. Despite the frigid terrain and austere lifestyle, the Vikings knew how to kindle more than just fires. Picture the soft glow enveloping you as your eyes settle on a pair of young Vikings, their furtive glances suggesting exchanges far richer than any loot. Here, in the midst of the harshness, love unfolds softly as snow. Vikings developed their own unique practices when it came to courtship, echoing the society's blend of pragmatism and passion. In this world, relationships were often strategic, yet rooted in genuine affection. The Viking custom of betrothal wasn't just a pragmatic transaction, it was a dance, both literal and metaphorical. Imagine young men, eyes bright with hope, trying to catch the subtle attention of their beloved amidst the community gatherings that punctuated Viking life. With every shared glance or whispered word, a promise of partnership formed, as strong and flexible as the ships that carried them across turbulent seas. Close your eyes and listen to the cadence of war drums, replaced now with the softer rhythm of Frigg's Day, the Norse goddess associated with love and marriage. During celebrations, young Vikings would engage in circular dances around the fires, weaving patterns in the air just as intricate as their intentions. Marriages were frequently sealed with hand-fasting, a ceremonial binding of hands, roots deeply entwined with natura quirky tradition that continues in some parts of Europe today. The path to marriage, though, wasn't always driven by love alone. Here's where practicality reigned. Alliances were often as much a matter of politics and survival as they were of the heart. A well-made marriage could mean solid alliances, expanded territories, and increased wealth. Yet, humor sat side by side with pragmatism, as suitors would thrive in playful banter, and mischievous pranks. Think of it as the medieval form of playful teasing. An episode of the Vikings' dating game, if you will. Mainstream historical fact: Vikings practiced bride price and dowry, where prospective grooms and their families offered gifts to the bride's family, illustrating the significant alliances being forged with every union. Yet, even in the bone-chilling embrace of winter, the human heart remained warm. Inside the longhouse, amidst laughter, the aroma of spiced mead filled the air. The sweet, almost floral scent would tango with the sharp, tangy edge of the fermented honey wine, as couples exchanged secret toasts. Consider it the Viking version of clinking champagne glasses. It's fascinating how the modern age, with its Tinder and text messages, mirrors the human condition timelessly. Connection and companionship remain at the forefront of our desires. Perhaps you chuckle softly at the thought that some things never change, whether you're swiping right or exchanging vows in the glow of flickering flame. Beyond these romantic rituals lurked shades of myth and legend that embedded themselves into the Viking worldview, turning Nordic love stories into sagas that rivaled any Hollywood drama. The Norse gods themselves, like Freya and Odin, wove their own tapestries of love and turmoil, inspiring mortals to follow suit in the eternal dance of hearts, entwined with fate. Historians still argue whether these stories of divine romance were allegorical teachings, helping to guide and inform societal norms, or merely colorful narratives embedded in oral tradition to enthrall communal gatherings. Was Odin's quest for knowledge and Frigg's wisdom a reflection of ideal partnerships, or simply larger-than-life depictions meant to awe and entertain? Perhaps it's a blend of both, perpetually debated in hushed academic circles and fireside chats. Yet, just as the embers from the hearth slowly fade, so too can the boundless warmth of these tales guide you deeper into understanding. So let your thoughts drift on these ancient winds, lulled by the knowledge that even within the starkest environments, love found a way to flourish. As you nestle deeper into your own quiet refuge, carried by the comforting cadence of history's tide, allow the stories of Viking romance to cradle you gently into slumber. Their ancient whispers remind us that even in the most austere settings, human warmth prevails. The scene shifts, and you find yourself standing at the threshold of a Viking longhouse, poised to enter the very heart of a bustling household. The scents of earth and smoke cling to the air, blending with the rich smell of roasted meat that clings to your clothes long after the meal is gone. You step inside, feeling the welcome embrace of warmth, enfolding you a stark contrast to the biting cold just outside. This is home. It's more than mere shelter. It's a nucleus of survival where every sound, every scent, and every flicker of torchlight holds purpose and meaning. The longhouse is alive, not just with people, but with the essence of communal life. And this is where the Vikings' true strength lay. Here, resilience was forged, not just in battlefields, but in the quiet determination of daily life. The structure itself speaks volumes, the groan of wood and the whisper of wind through thatched roofing, telling stories older than any surviving parchment. The walls, lined carefully with planks and turf, echo the craftsmanship of generations, a testament to a people who carved homes out of the wild landscape. The longhouse was often a single open space, with lower benches forming living areas and central hearths, where families gathered to share warmth and story as gathering place, reinforced both by timber and tradition. Mainstream historical fact: Viking longhouses were typically around 5 to 7 meters wide, the length varying greatly, accommodating not only immediate families, but extended kin, and sometimes animals during harsher months. Imagine yourself here, surrounded by members of the household, their faces illuminated by the amber glow of firelight. Conversations undulate around you in a harmonious blend of Old Norse, punctuated by bursts of laughter, or the quiet hum of a lullaby as a mother rocks her child to sleep. Meals are shared with a sense of communal identity, bowls of porridge and smoked fish passed around as tongues celebrate and debate the events of the day, both distant raids across treacherous seas and the winning of this year's harvest. The food varies with the seasons. In summer, fresh berries glistening like captured sunlight. In winter, storable grains and dried meats, sustaining body and spirit through the relentless cold. Embedded in these daily occurrences, you see another layer to Viking society, as the role of the matriarch emerges the women, who managed these households with exceptional skill and authority. In many ways, they were the true keepers of Viking society, weaving the threads of family and law within the smoky confines of their home. Their strength and resilience are still celebrated in stories of old, chronicling their prowess not just in protection but in dispensing wisdom. These women wielded skeins of yarn and pots of stew as deftly as any warrior might the sword, their roles burgeoning with both expected and unexpected power. From spinning wool into weighty garments, to managing household economies and invoking seasonal rituals, their hands and hearts were never idle. Despite the disparity of medieval gender roles, Viking women enjoyed more freedom than many of their contemporaries in other parts of medieval Europe, even owning property or seeking divorces under certain conditions. They walked their own paths, guided by sagas that revered female figures, both mortal and divine, fierce Freya and wise Frigg standing as paragons to follow. And yet, in the stillness of night, beneath a vast sky where stars cut through the fragile darkness, the inhabitants of the longhouse wrapped themselves in unity and dreams. Whispers of ancient hymns seep into the beams, resonant with the trust and love that typified their tight-knit communities. As you observe, you understand that these dwellings housed not only bodies, but spirits bound by kinship and stories sewn into skins of memory. Historians remain divided, speculating whether the arrangements of these longhouses reflected social hierarchies rather than just simple familial ties. Were they just practical, or symbolic as centers of leadership and allegiance within communities? The debate continues, encompassed by elemental structures both sturdy and resolutely enigmatic. So you sit there, your senses steeped in the tactile world of homemaking and heart-building. The crackling of firewood murmurs in the background, layering the night with its gentle song as you nestle closer to the warmth of shared legacy. Remember, as you drift deeper into rest, that within these ancient halls of timber and smoke-lived dynamics are as intricate as any tapestry, the essence of a people striving together against the relentless tide of time. Let this idea fill your thoughts as you softly journey into dreams, smiles hidden within the shadows. As dawn breaks over the rugged Scandinavian landscape, casting its pale light across the rolling hills. You feel a peculiar chill in the air, a veil of frost clinging to the earth underfoot. It's time to step into the shoes, or rather the boots, of a Viking. But first, a glimpse into their wardrobes reveals a world layered with both practicality and subtle artistry. In this demanding environment, every detail of Viking attire served a purpose. You start your day by slipping into a breathable tunic made from wool or linen, its fabric rough yet comforting, like a thick embrace against the morning's bite. Over this, a cloak is draped, a heavy garment clasped with a brooch that speaks of both personal taste and social status. These cloaks are more than mere warmth. Each weave and dye reflects the wearer's identity, a silent language of color and craft. The boots, essential for any Viking braving rocky terrains and icy paths, are meticulously crafted from leather. Tough and functional, they are designed not only for longevity, but also for those moments when speed is imperative. Adaptability is the lifeline of a Viking. Mainstream historical fact: Viking clothing was predominantly made from two materials, wool and linen, each playing a crucial role in managing the extreme weather conditions. Now, let's indulge in a curious twist of Viking fashion, their affection for bright colors. While history often paints these Norse seafarers in muted tones, they loved vibrant hues, proudly wearing dyed garments in rich reds, deep blues, and earthy greens. These colors added flair to the otherwise stark world they inhabited, livening up landscapes of white and gray. Visualize bustling marketplaces where traders sell dyes and textiles. Here, you witness the exchange of more than goods but stories, cultural insights woven into the weave of every fabric. Amidst the lively chatter, artisans trade secrets on achieving the perfect shade of madder red, vibrant enough to stand out even on fog-laden shores. However, as much as Vikings appreciated a splash of color, practicality was the hallmark of their footwear. Soft leather shoes worn by both men and women were often reinforced with additional layers to prevent the seeping cold. You can almost feel the biting moisture trying to gain entry. But these skilled craftsmen ensured resilience against nature's uncompromising elements. Alongside practicality, ornamentation found its subtle place. The clinking of a metal brooch or the hint of embroidery around a neckline, signifying an individual's social standing or skill in craft. The clutch of a brooch is more than just functional. It's a miniature gallery of Norse mythology, the designs inspired by sagas of gods and heroes. As much as clothes were tokens of identity, they were also common currency and powerful talismans. Historians still argue whether certain patterns and designs held mystical significance, or were mere aesthetic choices designed to inspire awe or perhaps frighten opponents during raids. Were the intricate geometries of Viking art a cosmic map, or just compelling visuals to captivate? Though fierce in trade and war, Vikings were surprisingly sensitive to artistic expression within their clothing, demonstrating a duality that perhaps transcends eras more than we imagine. You smile, considering the modern-day echoes of Viking influence in your wardrobe, from fashion runways to your cozy winter sweaters. So wrap yourself in these ancient layers, each garment a guardian against winter, each accessory a mark of individuality in a connected world. You now feel a kinship with those long-gone sailors of the frost-laden horizon, whose steps resonate across time through the sway of fabric and click of leathered soles. This day in Viking attire teaches you that clothing is a tapestry of survival woven, with threads of skill, social nuance, and a splendor for life that runs deeper than any mere garment. Let this woven history envelop you in its warmth as you drift towards serenity, those vivid patterns softly guiding your thoughts into the colorful realm of dream. The comforting aroma of smoke and spice wafts through the crisp morning air as the Viking settlement stirs to life. Your nose follows the scent, inviting you to explore the rich tapestry of Viking culinary life, a dance of feast and famine dictated by the cycling seasons and the capricious whims of nature. The glow of the hearth reveals a bustling scene as cooks prepare the day's meals, their hands deftly flipping flatbreads over hot stones and stirring stews simmering in large clay pots. The staples of the Viking diet were simple. Grains like barley, oats, and rye formed the bedrock of hearty porridge and bread. These grains were more than sustenance, they were a lifeline during the long winters when fields lay dormant under thick blankets of snow. Yet, Vikings were no strangers to abundance when the seasons were kind. The celebration of a bountiful harvest is a community affair, tables groaning under the weight of meats, breads, and sweet treats. Over the sizzle and pop of roasting pork, laughter spills like ale onto the worn wooden floors of the longhouse. Mainstream historical fact: Viking diets were heavily reliant on fish, particularly herring, cod, and salmon, caught in the region's bountiful waters and preserved by drying or smoking. A bountiful catch is laid out for a midday meal, gleaming fish from the nearby fjords, smoked to a tender perfection, their salty aroma mingling with the brine of the sea. This bounty of the ocean is a testament to the Vikings' skillful fishing techniques, a fruitful partnership with nature forged by necessity. It's worth pausing to imagine a lesser-known tidbit about their diet, a curious penchant for fermenting foods. Fermentation was an ancient art deployed by many cultures as both preservation and enrichment. But beyond its practicality, the Vikings had a taste for pungent, fermented shark, known today in Iceland as hakal. While not a staple, it's a culinary curiosity that speaks of daring palates unafraid of gastronomic adventure. The thought may prompt a chuckle. After all, culinary courage comes in many forms, whether it's embracing blue cheese or sinking your teeth into hakal's infamous tang. However, in stark contrast to the plentiful harvest and ocean haul, famine lurked like an uninvited guest. Late spring, when winter stores dwindled and new crops had yet to grow, was a time of hunger. The community would scrape together what's left from cellars and shelves-dried fish and nuts, roots preserved in sand lining the edge of survival's thin blade. Yet despite the oscillation between plenty and scarcity, the Vikings developed a uniquely resourceful spirit. Gathering herbs, berries, and mushrooms from the surrounding forests, they supplemented their meals with what the earth freely provided, glorifying nature's gifts amid humble surroundings. The feast table was, in truth, a stage where social structures played out in visible abundance. Chieftains and warriors often enjoyed the choicest cuts of meat, grander roasts, and succulent slices, while lower-ranked individuals shared bowls of stewed vegetables and grains. The hierarchy was etched with meat juices and breadcrumbs, muted yet unmistakable. However, this tradition of shared meals fostered a sense of unity. Gathered around the long communal table, armed not with swords, but with camaraderie, they traded stories and songs for deeper companionship. Despite the challenges, or perhaps because of them, Viking meals were as much about sustenance of spirit as they were of body. Historians still argue whether Viking feasting culture doubled as a political tool, a lavish demonstration of wealth and power, or if it was simply a means of forging alliances over ale and merriment. Were the grand feasts merely displays, or were they genuine nights of fellowship? The debate continues over ale mugs and hushed tones, preserved in countless songs and tales perpetuated through time. You sit among them now, partaking in the fragrant embrace of this culinary cycle. The hearth's warmth seeps into your bones, as the conversations flowing around you crescendo into a melodic blend of laughter and song. Each bite you take of this imagined feast invites you to savor the simplicity of thriving through unity, the echoes of community whispering their secrets as you fall gently into the plush landscape of dreams. Let the taste linger, a symphony of flavors painted against the canvas of history. Sleep comes softly now, a gentle invitation to relish these bygone feasts, and sleepily weave them into your own tales of sustenance and connection. As the festive air of the feast night subsides, you find yourself surrounded by the softer glow of candlelight, illuminating the faces of couples, their whispered conversations, weaving an intimate tapestry of alliance and affection. It is within these whispers that the intricate dance of Viking marriage unfolds. You begin to understand that matrimony in Viking society went beyond mere union. It was a remarkable blend of romance, ritual, and tactical maneuvering. In this world, love was not the only cornerstone on which marriages were built. Instead, they were often strategic, serving as pathways to strengthen alliances and amass wealth and influence. Yet, even within these calculated arrangements, genuine bonds often blossomed, shaped deeply by the shared responsibilities of managing homes and families amid the challenges of medieval survival. Imagine a young couple standing before their community as hand-fasting rites unfold before you. The ritual ceremony, sometimes lasting days, involved tying their hands together with cords, a tangible expression of their unity, both symbolic and literal. This public vow not only bound individuals but served as a pledge between families, their fates now intertwined like threads in a tapestry. Despite its pragmatic roots, Marriage in the Viking world embraced moments of gentle whimsy and heartfelt promises. The vivid sound of a groom presenting his bride with the Morgengifjur morning gift marked the official acceptance of their bond. The tradition of this tender offering ranged from land to valuable heirlooms, ensuring security and displaying affection. The quaint notion of gifts extending mornings into promises still conjures an affectionate smile, transcending centuries into modern gestures of love. Mainstream historical fact: Viking marriages were legally binding contracts, encompassing finances, property, and familial alliances, ensuring protection and cooperation among clans. Although contract-based, marriages had unique protective clauses for women, empowering them with rights uncommon in their time. The rights to divorce under certain circumstances, notably neglect or lack of support, offered tangible recognition of a woman's autonomy within domestic confines, a concept more progressive than often acknowledged against the medieval tapestry. Yet not everything was formal and solemn. Light-hearted customs danced alongside more serious rites. Community involvement in courtship sometimes reminiscent of reality TV's matchmaking ploys. You might even find yourself imagining Vikings participating in lively community gatherings or competitions, where alliances and affections sparred amidst folk games or midsummer merrymaking. And as with any society, love and bonds could grow in unexpected ways, twisting plotlines of personal drama often worthy of a Norse epic. Couples faced trial and temper, navigating distances when fate and raid called warriors to distant shores. Imagine hushed goodbyes whispered beneath waning moons, promises of return lingering like snowflakes upon lovers' lips. Though marriage might seem a solid bedrock, it couldn't weather every storm, nor was it the sole domain of heterosexual union. Scholarly debates arise questioning whether same-sex unions existed subtly, hidden under layers of history's complexities. Was there room for such unions within these structured societies, or do they remain only in speculative echoes of the past? Despite these debates, a fundamental truth emerges that human desire for connection transcends both era and circumstance. This old longing imbues itself into the gatherings you witness, love's warmth palpable, even amidst society's oft-practical framework. So you shelter here, beneath the wooden beams, where ancient vows once reverberated, allowing their echoing sweetness to infiltrate your senses. The resonance of an age-old kiss, a promised union inscribed upon fireside shadows, becomes an eternal lullaby. With that sense of unity and complexity woven finely through time's tapestry, you slowly drift further into rest. May the intricacies of love and marriage cradle your dreams, ferrying you upon the gentle tides of sleep toward a shore where the promises of old whisper softly into the quiet night. The warmth of tales and whispered vows gently recedes, giving way to a realm ruled by gods and giants, where mythology breathes life into Viking morality. You are transported to a place where the lines between the mortal and the divine dance, in vivid harmonia world woven from the stories that formed the very fabric of Viking life. This is where myth and reality intermingle, crafting a landscape where gods walked among men and sagas defined societal ethics and expectations. Picture yourself seated around a roaring fire, the soft glow illuminating the faces of those around you. As a Skald Viking poet, weaver of word sings tales of Norse gods to an eager audience. The haunting melody of his verse draws you in, unraveling the mysteries and moral guiding lights sewn into the mythos of the Norse pantheon. Here, among the company of mortals and deities, battles, trickery, and cosmic quests reveal the virtues and vices that shaped Viking society. At the heart of these stories lies the great Odin, one-eyed and wise, whose unquenchable thirst for knowledge shaped the paradigms of seeking wisdom and embracing sacrifice. Through his tale, woven deeply with themes of foresight and the inevitable embrace of fate, the Vikings grew to respect wisdom and destiny as guiding principles. In Odin's pursuit of understanding, they found a mirror to their own yearning for enlightenment amidst the uncertainties of life and exploration. Mainstream historical fact: Norse mythology provided a moral and ethical framework, guiding the Vikings not only in battle but in their daily lives, reinforcing values such as courage, honor, and loyalty. You listen as the tales shift to Thor, the thunderous protector of mankind, whose hammer, Mjolnir, became a symbol of strength and protection. His exploits against the giants reflect an eternal battle between order and chaos, a tale resonating in the hearts of those striving to hold together the strands of their own world against nature's caprices and men's capricious désir. However, beyond these heroic figures dwells the notorious trickster Loki, whose antics toggle between mischievous humor and dangerous deceit. Through him, the sagas hold a mirror to the complexities of human nature, revealing that within the saga of life, shadows often accompany the light, and the trickster serves as a reminder of hubris and the fragility of order. The air thickens with the scent of possibility as you ponder the roles of women within this mythic tapestry. Freya, goddess of love and war, weaves a paradox, embodying beauty's grace alongside the fierce passion of battle. Her realm serves notice of women's powerful duality in Viking lore, a reflection of the multifaceted roles practical Norse women embodied in their earthly lives. Amplified by oral tradition, these stories were not merely entertainment, but crucial instructional guides. Historians still argue whether these myths were primarily intended to enforce moral structures, or were instead fantastical narratives designed simply to unite and entertain. Were they meant to caution, amuse, or both? The tangible legacy of these mythologies remains as debated as it is revered. As you sit listening, the flickering flames highlight how mythology wove itself seamlessly into aspects of life. Festivals and ceremonies, under the moonlight or the blinding white of midsummer daylight, turned the pages of these stories into living celebrations. Imagine rites marking rites of passage or turning points, reinforced by myth's lessons, each tale alive in dance and song, threading the community with shared understanding. With every story, the veil of Ysbrite thickens, inviting you to lose yourself in the mystery and majesty of these ancient myths, intertwined with the weight of Viking moral fibers. They become both compass and canvas for life's trajectory, painting vibrant hues across the grayscale of uncertainty. Drifting now, you let these mythologies lull you further into sleep, anchoring you with the steadfast rhythm of their timeless morality. Here, in this cloak woven from tales as old as the North Star's guiding light, you find a tapestry of fates, dreams, and truths, written in the starlit sky of your quiet imagination. As you gently drift down the river of time, you are swept into the realm of Viking women, where strength and resilience pulse through the veins of history's often hidden figures. Imagine standing amidst a bustling Viking village, the crisp air filled with the lively hum of daily chores, as you catch sight of women who defy the societal norms of their time, contributing in roles both expected and extraordinary. These women are the backbone of the Viking world, their duties varied and vital. Picture them weaving the fabric of daily life, with dexterous hand-spinning wool or flax into thread, a rhythmic dance of spindle and patience. The texture of their work reflects the duality of softness and strength that embodies their existence. The garments they create are not just for warmth, but are shields against the biting northern winds, a testament to their mastery of craft and necessity. Yet beyond these domestic roles lies a world where women hold a remarkable amount of agency. Picture them at the helm of households, orchestrating the ebb and flow of life within the sturdy wooden walls of the longhouse. Viking women were influential in their communities, managing farms, trading, and sometimes wielding significant power during their husbands' absences, a societal design that anticipated today's work-life balances in every hustled small detail. Consider the Shield Maidens, those legendary warriors who stepped onto the battlefield alongside their male counterparts. Whether historical or symbolic, their presence in the sagas captures the imagination and challenges perceptions of gender roles. Even though some historians question their existence, debates, often sparking over whether sagas embroidered truth or grand storytelling, the mere presence of these characters ignites the legacy of fierce independence. Mainstream historical fact: Viking women had certain legal rights uncommon in their time, such as owning property and seeking divorce, reflecting a level of respect and autonomy. In everyday scenarios, women could inherit property, make legal claims, and spearhead voyages. As traders, they were savvy negotiators, dealing in goods as diverse as furs, textiles, and jewelry. The faint jangle of traded silver bangles and brooches contrasts with the ephemeral whisper of cloth, each transaction capturing their adept prowess in balancing personal and societal wealth. In ceremonial life, women also played significant roles. They were often the keepers of tradition, orchestrating seasonal rituals that wound through the years like golden ribbons. Close your eyes and envision the solemn yet celebratory beating of a seether drum, as women embark on trance-like rituals to divine the future or communicate with Norse deities, mystical mantle shrouded in wonderment. Despite these strides in agency, Viking women faced their own storms. While their stories are immortalized in sagas, they existed in a world where personal freedom and societal expectations often clashed. Although venerated in poetry and story, their voices in historical records remain an artistic whisper more than a documented conversation. Historians still debate the full scope of their roles, questioning whether sagas and songs have portrayed an equitable lens or if reality was a more constrained living. Did these tales exaggerate, enabling fantasies, or did they weave a balanced tapestry of gender dynamics? Such inquiries continue within academic quarters, as richly tangled as any Norse braid. Nevertheless, it is within these stories that the power of Viking women's spirits continues to ignite our imagination. You find yourself inspired not only by their resilience, but by their quiet revolution against the limits of their time, echoing through our world today with stories of empowerment and endurance. Now, as you nestle closer to your thoughts, imagine the intricate patterns woven by these extraordinary women, each action a loop on the loom of eternity. As history lays its gentle hands upon your eyelids, these visions craft a comforting quilt around you, inviting reflection and sleep. Let your dreams sail with these resilient daughters of the North, along routes of adventure and legacy, toward the tranquil seas of slumber. The saga carries you down to an early morn, filled with the crisp scent of sea salt and the rhythmic lull of waves hitting the shore. Here lies the bustling heart of Viking commerce scene that defies the singular image of raiders plundering foreign lands. Instead, you witness the intricate choreography of trade and travel, revealing the Vikings as adept merchants and explorers, with their sights set on the horizon far beyond the call of conquest. As you wander along a bustling dockside, the air is alive with the tantalizing aromas of distant shore spices from the east, the musk of pelts, and the richness of ambergris. Picture longships transformed from war vessels to trading hubs, their sleek profiles laden with goods as varied as Frankish wine, Byzantine silks, and Slavic pottery. The decks brim with treasures birthed not by theft, but by trade, each item, whispering tales of barter and negotiation. Feel your feet thrum with the energy of a place awash with the stories of travelers, the tramp of boots and clatter of hoofbeats, underscoring conversations in countless tongues. The bustling market becomes your stage, where you witness a unique facet of Viking life, their role as shrewd traders and skilled negotiators. Imagine yourself conversing with these Viking merchants, their language peppered with words from afar, hints at the vast network of connections linking northern Europe to Byzantine bazaars and the markets of Baghdad. These peaceful Vikings, as they are sometimes called in their trading guise, navigate the world not with swords drawn but with open hands, trading everything from fur and walrus ivory to thralls and rare artifacts, their economic prowess forming silent alliances across seas. Mainstream historical fact: the Vikings established extensive trade routes reaching as far as the Middle East, exchanging goods and cultural influences that shaped early medieval Europe. The rhythmic call of merchants hawking their wares blends with the laughter of children and the barking of dogs. As you observe, you might find yourself chuckling at the thought that had there been a Yelp of yore, one could expect reviews of Viking trade ships as reliable, or beware of high tides and hagglers. Yet, amidst this material exchange lies the inseparable human stories that traveled along these route cultural fusions as goods shifted hands, manifesting in language, food, and tradition. Picture Norse mariners sharing tales of Odin and Thor with Slavic villagers, or returning home with tales of faraway lands that seemed but a whisper from the realms of their own myths. Historians still argue whether these economic ventures based on peace were simply opportunistic or deeply strategic, with merchants functioning almost as proto-diplomats to secure alliances even when the axes were at rest. Were these encounters purely transactional, or did they represent mutually beneficial relationships that informed and transformed both participants? The stories remain etched in historical intrigue. As much as we value their beliefs in sword and adventure, it is here we find a different facet of their collectivity and aptitude for adaptation, finding strength in skillful navigation over both market tides and turbulent seas. Picture trading sessions, setting the stage for personal tales worthy of sagas themselves, of coins gained and lost, of tricks and treaties, told and retold beneath torch-lit rafters. In contemplating these voyages not for pillage but for partnership, the Viking world opens wider than ever imagined. The imagery of wooden docks, kissed by moonlight, and sails filled with ambitious dreams invites you to wander through new stories, sharing the soft yet mighty whispers of commerce riding the northern wind. Let yourself drift further on these imagined tides, buoyed by the gentle sway of trade boats and their cargo, each item a piece of an intricate network shaping more than songs of war. As the waves sing a soft lullaby, allow their rhythmic embrace to draw you into a deep, restorative, slumber-steering dreams toward realms where adventure and peace sail side by side, forging paths for a civilization intricately linked by its own human compass. As you steady yourself on the dock, your thoughts drift toward the ethereal mysteries of Viking spiritual life, where land, sea, and sky intersect with realms unseen. Step into a place filled with the echoes of ancient chants and the scent of incense blending with the salt of the sea world, where spiritual beliefs and burial rites entwine, guiding the soul's journey beyond the physical realm. The Norse cosmos is an intricate tapestry, its threads spun into 9 worlds, held irresistibly in Yggdrasil's branches, the mythical tree of life. Here, you are invited to explore the profound beliefs that shaped every Viking's life, and ultimately their afterlife. Picture a society where destiny and divine encounters were woven into the very fabric of existence, the line between mortal and immortal as delicate as breath. Begin at the hearth of a Viking home, where offerings to gods like Thor and Freya are placed with reverence, a simple yet profound ritual saturating the air with the scent of burning herbs. These offerings whisper prayers for protection, fertility, and prosperity, demonstrating a communion with the divine as intimate as it is powerful. The complexity of their spiritual tapestry echoes throughout daily life and ceremony alike, from humble supplications made in glowing kitchens to grander rituals during significant festivals. Imagine standing among the community in a sacred grove, where the air is thick with anticipation, as sacrifices are made to honor the gods, binding men to the cosmic order. These rituals reinforce communal harmony, weaving spiritual and social bonds that are tested by time and tide. Mainstream historical fact: Vikings venerated multiple deities, with beliefs centered around nature, myth, and a complex cosmology that intertwined mortal experiences with divine influence. The ultimate journey for every Viking, however, was one that transcended life itself, the passage into the afterlife. Visions of warriors feasting in the hallowed halls of Valhalla, the grand mead hall overseen by Odin, paint a vibrant afterlife where bravery is eternally celebrated. Meanwhile, others might find peace in Folkvangri, Freya's heavenly field, where the noise of battle gives way to gentle repose. As you absorb the intricate play between life and death in the Norse belief system, visualize a burial. A Viking chieftain lies amid his treasures, carefully draped across the pyre, his ship a vessel poised to sail the ethereal seas. This symbolic rite, a seamless passage between worlds, reflects not just personal honor, but a guarantee of eternal status within the community. This yearning for permanence and honor beyond the veil of mortality finds expression in both burial mounds and the saga's songs that would immortalize the departed's deeds. Some Viking burials tell quieter tales, graves adorned with simple stones or everyday items, reflecting lives both rich and modest. And yet, each grave whispers echoes of the shared journey, a testament to communal beliefs and familial ties that transcend the physical remnants left behind. You find yourself captivated by these variations, from ship burials to stone tombs, each one a doorway into the far reaches of Viking spirituality. Historians still engage in spirited debates regarding the extent of these burial practices. Some argue that only the elite received extravagant rites, their pyres blazing with the clamor of metal and wealth, while others contend these grand send-offs were accessible to the powerful and beloved alike, irrespective of status or wealth. This scholarly watching challenge continues, shimmering like the aurora borealisa, grand mosaic painted by history's changing light. As you wander through these realms crafted of both myth and time, let the stories carried among stars guide you. Listen closely, and you might find echoes of voices who lived by the words of gods, their spirits sailing through paths yet to be navigated. Your journey now takes you toward rest, carried by the breath of ancient winds. Let the lullabies of Yggdrasil's branches, swaying softly in timeless wind, cradle you into sleep. May the dreams of ancient battles and astral mead halls accompany you gently, guiding you towards tranquility amidst the choruses of gods and mortals who have long since set sail for the otherworldly shores. Feel the air enliven with anticipation as you step into an open field, the ground beneath you shaking with the energy of the gathered crowd. The scene before you is abuzz with excitement. Viking sports and games, a blend of ancient tradition and competitive spirit that goes beyond simple physical prowess, touching deeper aspects of communal life and honor. The sun shines brightly across the eager faces mingling around you, casting a golden glow over the scene of intense camaraderie and rivalry alike. Picture burly men and fierce women, their muscles rippling, entering the makeshift arena. The smell of sweat tinges the air, mingling with the earthy scent of the crushed grass beneath their feet. You sense that this is more than just competition. It's a celebration of skill, strength, and the Viking gift for storytelling, turning legends into living displays of might. Take a moment to watch the spectacle of Glima, the traditional form of Viking wrestling. Imagine two competitors circling one another, muscles taut, eyes locked, resembling a dance more than a fight. This ancient contest was one of balance and strategy, mirroring the deeper struggle between chaos and order. The crowd around you cheers with each fall and triumph, reinforcing the communal bonds that such events were meant to strengthen. Mainstream historical fact: sports such as wrestling, archery, and stone-lifting contests were popular in Viking culture, often held during festivals and important gatherings. However, sports in Viking culture were not confined to brute strength alone. Picture a row of Vikings, their attention fixed upon a long stretch of sandy ground home to a different type of challenge. Here, in the midst of clapping hands and encouraging shouts, the stone-lifting competition takes place. Each participant steps forward, gauging the hefty boulders with measured glances before attempting the impossible. It's an event that not only measures physical strength, but also the resilience of spirit, a reminder of the fortitude needed for both domestic duties and seafaring adventures. There is levity here too. Humble sticks mark the boundaries for Natalika, a fast-paced ball game reminiscent of hockey. You hear the crack of wooden mallets striking the ball, laughter and good-natured taunts filling the air, evidence of community play, transcending the seriousness of warfare. In the laughter and camaraderie, you sense echoes of modern sports events, where the joy of physical movement and collective involvement bridges age and culture. Among these events, you overhear an epic recounting of the victor's tale, their triumph immortalized into saga and song, akin to contemporary sports stars etching their names into history. To the Vikings, these moments became symphonies upon which communal reverence played out, their stories perpetuating a legacy of resilience and valor. Historians still argue over the precise nature of some games, speculating whether certain contests were mythologized over time, or if they mirrored regional variations across the Norse world. Did these sports reflect broader pan-Scandinavian culture, or were they fantasies sculpted by Skold's zealous narrative arts? The debate resonates through hallowed halls of academia. As you stand in the warmth of shared tussles, something ethereal beckons from the past, turning participants into sagas sung beneath the moon's cool glow. Here, sport isn't just sport, but an alchemical component of Viking identity, echoing familial ties and illuminating the interwoven threads of society. Drifting back from this vivid escapade, let your mind unwind under the familiar blanket of competition's camaraderie. These games were more than battles of strength. They were rituals that bound community and heart. As sleep draws near, let your dreams splash vividly with images of races and rivalries, a fitting tribute to shared histories and laughter bonds, formed stronger than iron and sweeter than spring mead. Let your spirit rest, afloat on the assurance that even in ancient Nordic fields, the simple joy of play was a crown jewel in the tapestry of life's profusion. In the fading light of day, as the sun dips beneath the horizon, casting fiery hues across the sky, you find yourself enveloped by a sense of structure and order, an invisible axiom guiding the seemingly chaotic Viking world. Here unfolds the underappreciated tapestry of law and order, woven with threads as old as the society itself. Although Vikings are often seen with swords drawn, it was the nuanced intricacies of their legal systems that kept the proverbial chaos at bay. Step into a grand assembly, the thing, where serious matters of law are debated and resolved. Imagine a gathering of clans, their chieftains seated in a circle upon the grassy mound, the air humming with anticipation and the low murmur of discussion. The smell of earth and leather is ever present, grounding you in the solemnity of the occasion. Here, disputes are settled, alliances forged, and justice dispensed with a blend of tradition, negotiation, and sagacity. The Thing was more than a single event, it was a symbol of communal governance, an organized forum where every freeman had the right to speak, reinforcing the delicate balance between hierarchy and individual voice. Attendees from various parts of the region wait their turn, presenting cases in disciplined harmony that echoes the collective spirit underlying Viking laws. Picture a system that, while informal by contemporary standards, embodies the core of order amid potential anarchy. Impartiality thrives with lawmen, wielding not just weapons, but a deep understanding of fairness and cultural mores. Elders, revered for their wisdom, play the role of arbitrators, their silvered hair glinting in the sun. Yet, these assemblies are far from monotonous here. Law is alive, echoing afar like the waves upon Norway's shores. Mainstream historical fact. Viking societies operated under assemblies known as things, where laws were upheld and disputes resolved through consensus and severe penalties. Away from the culprits of infamy dissected by torchlight, everyday justice unfolds within longhouses, where social norms are gently maintained by an unspoken rule. Picture resolutions made as disputes over livestock or land were handled with negotiation and compensation, sometimes in the form of cattle or silver. The law transcends parchment, its living, breathing arbitration, understood by a society deeply interwoven with nature's inexorable cycles. Interestingly, the concepts of honor and reputation play crucial roles in this system, valued like treasured heirlooms passed through generations. To a Viking, reputation is more than pride. It's survival. Losing face or a mark of dishonor carries grave consequences, compelling adherence to societal norms, much like the laws of the wild maintain nature's balance. Yet, not all are satisfied, and you might find yourself smiling wryly at the thought of more unruly elements, outlaws, cast beyond societal protection, their offenses too great for redemption. These individuals roamed the wilderness, becoming both legends and cautionary tales, reinforcing communal values through their very exclusion. Historians continue to ponder if these legal practices were simply adaptations of older customs, or if they represented a conscious evolution toward more structured governance. Did the Vikings adapt these frameworks through cultural exchanges, or were they inherently innovative? The debate itself is a tribute to their enduring legacy. As you step back from the dynamic circle of deliberation, let the murmurs of consultation fade into the soft symphony of evening. It's here, within the interlacing shadows, that the chorus of early laws reveals Viking society not as dissonant discord, but as a tuned composition crafted within the halls of justice and bound by communal honesty. So, wrap yourself in the passing echoes of justice, soft as meadow grass upon twilight. As you drift into sleep, allow these ancient codes to weave paradoxes of freedom constrained and values upheld, painting dreams with balanced scales and steadfast oaths. Rest now, knowing the world of old navigated chaos with the compass rose of order, a silent dance, etched against the vault of history's ever-turning narrative. With the murmurs of justice still reverberating in your ears, you find yourself drawn into the world of craftsmanship, a testament to Viking artistry beyond the battlefield. Step into a hearthlit workshop, the clinking sound of metal work and the scent of freshly cut wood surrounding you. Here, in the creative pulse of a Viking settlement, the tale of their craftsmanship unfolds, a saga told not through raids and pillaging, but through the meticulous crafting of objects, both practical and exquisite. Let your eyes wander across the forge where a blacksmith hammers a red-hot ingot, the rhythmic clang echoing like a heartbeat. Sparks fly like miniature stars in the dim light, illuminating the determination in his eyes. This is more than mere labor, it is an art form. The tools of warfare, swords, axes, and spear stake shape, each one unique yet unified by solid craftsmanship. To hold one is to clutch a piece of the artisan's soul, their skill hammered into history. But it's not just weapons that capture your gaze. To the side, a carpenter gently carves intricate designs into the prow of a longship, the wood whispering secrets of the sea with each stroke. Viking ships, known for their sleek elegance, are the true marvels of Norse ingenuity. They conquered oceans not just through strength, but through precision and design, a testament to the master shipbuilders who crafted vessels that could sail to the ends of the known world, and then some. Mainstream historical fact. Viking longships were renowned for their innovative design, allowing them swift navigation across open seas and shallow rivers alike. On a nearby bench, you catch the glint of silver under careful hands. A jeweler crafts intricate patterns into delicate pieces, the detailed artistry of brooches and pendants reflecting cultural narratives in their curves and lines. These items, though small, carry immense significance, capturing the essence of myth and history in precious metal, shining testament to the softer side of Viking life. Moreover, this artistry was woven into more than metal and wood. Imagine textiles dyed in vivid hues, spun from wool with care and creativity, designed to withstand the elements yet beautify the wearer. The patterns stitched lovingly into tunics and cloaks tell stories as vivid as any saga, multifaceted revelation of identity woven directly into daily life. Engage with the artisans themselves, Viking men and women, whose nimble fingers and focused minds create a medley of function and beauty. Apprentices stand eagerly at their sides, learning the skills that will one day allow them to leave their own mark upon the world, ensuring the legacy of craftsmanship endures. In these workshops, lineage flows not just through blood but through craft, every piece a chapter added to the eternal compendium. Historians still argue whether certain craftsmanship techniques were adapted from other cultures through trade, or entirely innovated within Norse communities. Were the stunning designs of Viking art infused by interaction with distant societies, or did they emerge solely from the Nordic imagination? The answers remain a patchwork of history and legend. As you pull back from this scene of creation, let your senses linger on the sounds and scents of craftsmanship. These meticulous works, disciplined yet inspired, illustrate a society where expression found its voice in every hammer's strike and the careful threading of a needle. It's time now to rest these impressions against the canvas of your own dream. Allow them to shape visions of sleek ships gliding seamlessly over the ocean, the tactile beauty of intricately carved runestones, and the shining elegance of silver brooches. Surrender to the gentle embrace of slumber, knowing that the Viking world was as much about artistry as adventuring enduring legacy forged in fire, carved from the heart, and crafted by the hands that toiled at history's vibrant looms. In the gentle embrace of twilight, your journey guides you to the coastal dockyards, a cauldron of activity and ambition, where the very destiny of the Vikings was sculpted. As you walk along the water's edge, the air hums with the salty tang of the sea, mingling with the rich scent of fresh-cut timber. This is a place where dreams were not just realized, but meticulously crafted, plank by plank, the Dockyards of Destiny. Imagine the scene. Shipbuilders labor with focused intensity, their hands working in perfect synchrony with the cry of seabirds overhead. Every component, from the curved hardwood ribs to the pine tar-sealed hulls, is crafted with unwavering precision. The Vikings were artisans of the brine, revered for their ingenuity in designing vessels capable of both swift strikes upon foreign shores and peaceful trade mission voyages. Your eyes linger on a nearly finished longship, its sleek form promising speed and agility upon the open waters. The balance between practicality and power is key, as these vessels are not just feats of engineering, but extensions of those who crew them. Feel the pride swelling among the shipwrights, akin to artists completing a masterpiece. Each longship named with care and destined to carry its people into uncharted horizons of possibility. Mainstream historical fact. Vikings utilized the clinker-built method in ship construction, overlapping planks for added strength and flexibility, an innovative technique that greatly enhanced their seafaring capabilities. Yet these dockyards whisper more than tales of the violent raider. They convey a deeper narrative of a people driven to explore, to bridge the gaps between distant realms. Picture traders and explorers standing on these decks, eager to harness the wind and explore the rivers and seas. Are they filled with dreams of wealth, or a sheer curiosity about what lies beyond the edge of the known world? The dockyards resonate now with sounds beyond wood and steel. Hear the soft lilt of voices, exchanging anecdotes and knowledge, gleaned from years on the sea streets of Greenland's icy fjords, the bustling markets of Constantinople, and the mythical landscapes of Vinland, whispered with awe and speculation. These docks served as crucibles of culture and commerce, points of departure not just for goods, but for ideas and tales. The first ripples of globalization in a world brimming with geographic enigma. As a vessel is lowered into the water, the collective history ripples outwards with it, the splash akin to the stirring of ancient runes over calm waters. Yet amidst the clamour, one can still hear debates echoing between scholars and seafarers, pondering the origins of Viking navigation. Historians still argue whether unparalleled navigational skills derived more from solar compasses and sunstones, or were innate to the design of their groundbreaking ships. Did stars guide their destiny as much as human ingenuity? Like the mythical helmsman using wisdom of the tides and skies, the Vikings charted courses that resonate today in the annals of history and the topography of modern law. As you step back from the pulsating hub of creation, the dockyards impart their final gift of mutable silence, allowing deep reflection upon winds that carried the ships and their stories to distant shores. These dockyards were the heartbeats of a civilization whose legacy endures beyond mere echo. Let evening's calming tides draw you now toward rest. With closed eyes, drift gently within dreams of sleek longships cut from forest giants, the symphony of construction blending with the rhythmic lap of waves against your brow's shore. Here, Dockyards of Destiny cradle you to sleep, their legacy as enduring as the timeless sea, whispering stories of adventure to those souls willing to heed their call. As dawn breaks over the Viking lands, you find yourself drawn into the rhythm of daily life, the subtle symphony of toil and turmoil that define the Viking existence. The first threads of morning light stretch across the landscape, revealing an intricate tableau of interconnected tasks and routines, each day a tapestry woven from necessity and resilience. Rise early with the Viking laborer, their breath visible in the crisp morning air as they step out into the day, the chill a brisk reminder of the endless cycle of work. The stable smell of earth and sweat fills your senses, grounding you in the life of a people for whom each day brought fresh challenges to conquer. The heartbeat of Viking life is agricultural, beating in time with the seasons. Fields await attention, and you join the laborers in the never-ending task of preparing the soil for planting. This is not the domain of romance, but endurance and skill. With tools that have passed through generations, wooden plows reinforce connections between past and present as they turn the dark earth under the open sky. This daily routine might seem mundane to modern eyes, but it was the solid groundwork for all Viking endeavors, a livelihood at the mercy of nature's cycles. The rich soil under their nails is both sustenance and symbol, a reminder of what ties them to these untamed lands. Mainstream historical fact: Viking farming relied heavily on seasonal cycles, with the majority of the population engaged in agriculture, raising crops and livestock for sustenance. But not all endeavor lies in the fields. Labor divides itself into rhythmical pachisa study in contrasts. By mid-morning, anglers cast their nets into the waters, the silvery shimmer of fish promising a day's reward. The air fills with the brine-tinged scent of fresh catch, even before the sun stands high, as the Viking world turns like the nets themselves aligned with the elemental forces to sustain and thrive. Each task bears its own weight and dignity. Imagine the carpenters and smiths at work. Each stroke of the hammer or saw a pledge to the utility and beauty of creation. They mold the raw materials of nature into vessels and tools. These hands that shape existence, exerting formidable skill into every detail. Whether building homes or shaping weapons, their labor echoes the notations of an unending score performed by a bygone society. Take in the palimpsest of sounds. A farmer's distant shout breaks through with clarity, the rhythmic clangor of a blacksmith's forge, creating a background symphony played out in time with the heartbeat of Viking life. Together, they sustain the community, each task a thread in the rich, ambivalent tapestry of existence. As the sun reaches its zenith, and the landscape casts brilliant hues across hard labor, the slower pace of afternoon draws you into the life of those who labor under threat, as warriors sharpen swords and prepare for potential raids. The thrill of combat weaves into their consciousness. Wear and weapons are part of daily life practical needs, conjoining with existential readiness. Nevertheless, humor peeks out from behind the heavy doors of duty. Imagine the cunning and camaraderie at play in tasks like hide tanning or rope making, jokes shared at the expense of clumsiness, or while haggling over trade goods, the warmth of good-natured banter worming its way into hearts weathered by years. As dusk settles, painting the horizon with strokes of violet and gold, the day winds down with the gathering of family and kin. Each person returns to the hearth, invigorated by labor and buoyed by the shared universe of effort and outcome, fortified for tomorrow's cycle in the certitude that each day binds them to the land and to each other. Historians still argue over the extent to which daily life was interwoven with the shadow of impending raids, or whether these were isolated threats. Was each quiet moment a vivid contrast painted against the days of violence, or a reprieve temporarily granted by stormy seas? Such questions arise from the varied tapestry of Vikings' lived experience. As night reclaims the land, let your senses embrace the soft, comforting lull of this age-old cadencia woven quilt of labor and legacy binding a people to their world and each other. Drift now into sleep, buoyed on tides of dreams where earth meets sky, hands meet soil, and toil sings its timeless song. Here in the stillness of night, the Viking pulse steadies your breath, rhythmically welcoming you into rest's embrace. As the stars twinkle overhead, casting their ancient light across the Viking settlement, you find yourself closing in on the sound of voices lifting in rhythmic verse melody that transcends time, where the art of storytelling and song breathes life into the heart of Viking culture. Here, beneath the wooden beams of a longhouse, you gather with others to bask in the warmth of shared tales and skaldic poetry. The interior is aglow with the rich amber hue of crackling fires, casting flickering shadows on the walls as a hush falls over eager faces. The air is warm, tinged with the smell of smoke and ale, making the atmosphere thick with anticipation. A skald, the revered keeper of stories, stands poised, their eyes bright with the light of the past and the wisdom of words yet to be spoken. Viking storytelling is more than mere entertainment. It is a vessel for history, identity, and values. Through intricate oral tradition, these stories journeyed from heart to heart, weaving their way into the very fabric of Viking life. Imagine hearing the saga of a legendary hero, the tale unfolding before you with every poetic linear story that stitches valor and folly into the tapestry of memory. Mainstream historical fact: skalds played an essential role in Viking society, crafting and reciting poetic histories that maintained cultural continuity and cohesion. Imagine the powerful imagery brought to life through alliteration and meter, each word meticulously chosen. The skald's voice is a bridge connecting the heroic deeds of Thor, the wisdom of Odin, and the adventures of seafaring ancestors to the present gathering. You can almost see the warriors in their longboats and hear the clash of swords on distant shores, a blend of history and myth that transcends the mundane. The audience leans in, captivated by verses that blend humor with satire, showcasing the Vikings' appreciation for cleverness and jest even in the portrayal of their deities and heroes. These words paint pictures bright with emotion, stirring feelings of pride, longing, and the inescapable pull of destiny, kinship with both God and man that ignites their spirit. Meet a world where boasts are not merely statements of arrogance, but are testaments to the deeds that shape Viking identity. Yet, alongside bold tales of conquest, profound moments of reflection mark a people deeply aware of fate's inexorable turn, preserving lessons in resilience and the inevitability of life's cycle. Here the children ask questions, their curiosity prompting a retelling with a grandparent's gleam of nostalgia. Their laughter peals around you like a children's choir, interweaving with the story a reminder that the wisdom of old always finds a place in younger minds, nurturing a cycle of knowledge endlessly transported by the spoken word. Meanwhile, another gathering erupts into song, reciting drapa, a form of courtly poetry, merging personal tribute with humor and unruly jest. Historians remain divided over whether all tales served societal reinforcement or were sometimes fanciful wanderings meant primarily for amusement. Were these narratives strictly didactic, or did they serve as early entertainers stirring whimsical escape? The debate echoes through history's halls. You become part of this narrative dance, weaving into the traditions as an invisible thread, feeling the enduring human connection that storytelling fosters, a cherished commodity and creative influence that shapes perceptions and honors the moment. As the evening deepens and the stories draw to a close, the fire crackles softly, its glow casting a gentle reminder of both ancient and imminent dawns. With your senses suffused by tales of valor and whimsy, the call of slumber rises like a crescendo, coaxing you to join the venerated ranks of those who have slept beneath the starlit canopy of a storyteller's sky. Let your mind drift with the echoes of these oral traditions, surrendering to dreams spun from tales both real and mythical. Rest now, knowing that within these whispered narratives lies the overarching journey of a people, forever entwined with the eternal song of the stars. As you close your eyes, allow the skald's wisdom and cadence to guide you into gentle sleep and odyssey, silent and serene, where the echoes of lore softly cradle your night. As dawn approaches, and the soft light of morning filters across the land, your thoughts turn to the clash of swords and the echoes of shields' Viking conflicts, where strategy and ferocity have been etched deeply into the annals of history. The murmurs of pre-dawn meld into a heightened awareness that accompanies tales of conflict that shaped not only Viking destiny, but also the tapestry of medieval Europe. You find yourself standing amidst warriors preparing for battle, each one a study in focus and resolve. The metallic scent of forged steel mingles with the earthy aroma of leather and sweat, creating a visceral sense of readiness. The Vikings' prowess in warfare is legendary, yet beneath the surface of raider legends lies a complex narrative of motives and consequences. The clamor of battle begins with more than brute strength. Imagine the anticipation as lines are formed, warriors brandishing axes and swords, with the kind of reverence reserved for sacred objects. This precision and discipline speak to a sophisticated understanding of warfare where strategy and atmosphere meld seamlessly. Beside you, a seasoned chieftain charts a course upon a makeshift map, the dance of his hands crafting a strategy as meticulously as a skald weaves a poem. Hear them speak of tactics that strike fear in the hearts of adversaries, like the terrifying berserkers, those fearsome warriors said to enter trance-like fury, wielding both legend and steel. The modern eye might view them as uncanny, reminders of the thin line balancing legendary narratives and historical truth. Mainstream historical fact: Viking raids, often targeting monasteries and coastal settlements, were marked by a combination of cunning military tactics and ferocious combat skills. You bear witness to the ignition of both expansion and preservation as the Vikings navigate complex geopolitics. Conquests are not driven solely by greed, but also by necessity, the need for new resources and arable land to sustain burgeoning population. With every clash, old worlds crumble while new alliances form, reshaping power dynamics in regions touched by their longships' prows. Amidst the chaos and valor, the human element weaves into conflict resolution. Hear the negotiations that take place after battle, the treaties formed, oaths sworn on ancestral blades, and power shifted through astute diplomacy, as much as by axes. Victories are seldom absolute. Each carries the potential to rewrite alliances and redraw borders, as malleable as the ocean that linked their far-flung shores. Yet historians still dispute precise triggers, whether economic pressures, environmental changes, or internal power dynamics were the catalysts for Viking expansion. Were raids simply survival tactics? Or did they fulfill cultural imperatives grounded in emerging identities? The discussion thrives, pointed today toward understanding subtle historical nuances. Stand in reverence to the texture of these stories, acknowledging both glory and grief as paths converge or divide. Amidst the torrents of battle, moments of compassion pierce the narrative, where enemies find common ground or honor bestowed upon fallen foes transcends enmity. As you step back from the palpable tension of imagined war fronts, the panorama of conflict gives way to reflection. Each campaign leaves indelible marks upon time's evolving chronicle. As the sun sets once more on this fierce epoch, rest in knowing that human resolve, etched deep in the hearts of warriors, foresaw not only conquest but legacy. Allow your mind to settle now into a gentle repose, guided by the saga of forces both harmonious and discordant. Close your eyes, listening to the soft lilting of history's battle snow, distant echoes in the vastness of dream. Sink quietly into the cradle of slumber, where honor-bound adventures give way to the tranquil promise of peace, a soft passage across time's twilight horizon. As the moon casts its pale glow upon the gently rolling waves, you find yourself drawn to the open sea, where shadows and mysteries entwine in the endless expanse. The boundless waters have always been a realm of wonder and trepidation, where Viking mariners and their superstitions have steered bravely, guided by stars and an invisible compass of belief. On the shores, the soft rustle of sails merges with the whisper of the wind, a melodic testament to the relationship between seafarer and sea. Viking captivity juxtaposes daring exploration with lingering fiercer phenomenon, imbued with superstition to unpack the uncharted waters. Salt-smudged fingers point to the supernatural, the whispers of Njord, god of the sea, or Ran, the feared sea goddess drawing sailors underwater with her net. Imagine stepping aboard one of these majestic longships, the wood beneath your feet infused with tales of past voyages. The night air carries the scent of tar and brine, clinging to the sails and stirring a mixture of anticipation and caution among the crew. Each sailor carries a personal talisman for luck, a carved rune or a piece of bone, believed to ward off the wrath of tempest-tossed fates. On deck, mariners share stories of encounters with mythical sea creatures, such as the terrifying kraken or serpents that slumber beneath the surface, ephemeral beings that fuel fireside tales steeped in awe and dread. These stories, rooted in fear, imagination, and observation, frame the ocean as a living, breathing entity, a powerful force deserving respect. Mainstream historical fact: Viking explorers relied on primitive tools like sunstones and landmarks to navigate the seas, often embellishing their journeys with tales of mythical beings and omens. Hear the low chants of the crew, a rhythmic prayer to placate gods or invoke friendly wind. As night wraps the world in its inky cloak, there's a shift in mood. The torches flicker, casting ghostly silhouettes, and a palpable unease settles a notion that the sea, vast and enigmatic, harbors secrets seldom revealed to mortal eyes. Consider the atmospheric challenge that accompanied seafaring icebergs emerging suddenly from mist, storm-tossed waves that tested even the bravest mariner's resolve. Amidst this expanse, omens hold sway over hearts, urging caution or boldness, crafting narratives swelling within tales retold at home upon safe return. Despite such superstitions, resilience and mastery of seafaring techniques triumph. The Vikings' cunning navigational skills, charting courses by stars when clouds disperse, show cases of both knowledge and enigma. You sense the camaraderie of sailors, one clan in their shared dread of the sea's vastness, tempered by gentle jest, for humor as much as tradition dispels dark worries. Yet scholars and historians speculate on the real truths behind these tales. Were the monsters mere fabrications to explain the unexplained, or exaggerations of real encounters with unfamiliar creatures? These debates sail through academic waters, sometimes pondering science amidst the folklore. As you glide back to shore, your senses immerse in the vibrant echoes of laughter and song drifting from a nearby hall. Here, echoes of nautical exploits blend truth and fantasy, reinforcing the bond between Vikings and their mystical seas. Each boastful narrative delivers not just entertainment, but lessons, crafting a shared understanding etched into collective consciousness. Allow the gentle waves to pull you into a soothing reverie. With closed eyes, drift into the rhythm of oars striking the water, the gentle swaying of the ship lulling you deeper into sleep. In this lullaby of salt and stars, the sea's serenade becomes a soothing balm, inviting you to explore dreams of tempestuous adventures and tranquil shore-sand eternal voyage across horizons, where myth entwines with reality. As the sea breeze carries the stories of distant lands, you find yourself drawn to the deck of a Viking longship, ready to push off from familiar shores. Before you stretches the vast unknown, the call of exploration and adventure, whispering against the sails like ancient runes. The air hums with excitement, and the scent of the sea promises both challenge and discovery. Step into the heart of this maritime voyage, where the sturdy longship glides gracefully on the open waters, its sleek body crafted for endurance and exploration. Amidst the soft creaking of timber and the rhythmic dip of oars, you embark on a journey that expands the boundaries of the known world, unraveling mysteries that lie beneath distant horizons. Imagine the faces of these adventurers, filled with resolve and anticipation. They are equipped not only with weapons but also with tools of trade, their ambitions bigger than empire alone. The Vikings' insatiable curiosity propels them to new shore resto, the emerald cliffs of Ireland, the bustling markets of Constantinople, and even the rugged coasts of North America, known as Vinland in sagas, whispered over quiet nights. Mainstream historical fact: Viking explorers were among the first Europeans known to reach North America, establishing brief settlements in places like Newfoundland around 1000 AD. Each expedition carries the potential for unprecedented wealth and cultural exchange. Picture the medieval markets where exotic spices, textiles, and treasures further enrich their society, a blend of warrior and trader whose stories are in equal measure of cities built upon conflict and empires grown through dialogue. Experience the stark beauty of Iceland's volcanic plains, the crags and fjords echoing with calls of seabirds. Sail onward, past stormy seas to serene Greenland, where icebergs float like ethereal sculptures upon the cold azure waters. Defying natural barriers, the Vikings become not just masters of their crafts, but innovators of their destinies. The sagas celebrate heroes whose deeds brought knowledge back to Nordic lands firsthand, tales of foreign customs and gods, stories that survive woven into the oral history of their people. Yet scholars still debate the extent and accuracy of these voyages. Were they regular routes of trade, or bold, sporadic adventures fueled more by myth than fact? In answering this, decisions blend fact with imagination, suggesting tantalizing possibilities. Beyond conquest and settlement, these exploratory routes reveal a far greater narrative portrait of a people shaped by the boundless oceans and the sky. As you linger on the images of these voyages, consider the navigational skills and tenacity that defined a culture not easily confined by geographic limits. Personal tales emerge amidst the grand scope accounts of lives spent at sea, either searching or settling, negotiating their identities in alliance with the lands and peoples they encounter. These voyages remind us of humanity's enduring spirit to explore and understand, to break barriers, and to knit cultures across the tapestry of time. As you stand on the brink of adventure alongside these seafarers, allow the rhythm of the waves to soothe you. With the horizon a continuous beacon, the legacy of exploration becomes a hymn of the ages, sung by the salty wind into every ear willing to listen. Close your eyes and let imagination and history combine, wrapping you in dreams of distant shores and far-off lands. Drift effortlessly into sleep, lulled by the comforting notion that the world's frontiers are ever expansive, and the journey of discovery is Endesa legacy carried forward upon the tides of adventure, where every wave offers a new chapter and the promise of boundless possibility. The cool breeze envelops you as you stand by the Viking hearth, the warmth of crackling wood blending with the soft rustle of the trees. It is here, within the embrace of rustic longhouses and vast open landscapes, that you delve into the essentials of Viking diet and health, a dance of necessity, underpinned by knowledge passed through generations. The core of sustenance for the Vikings centered on resourcefulness, with their diet primarily shaped by the bountiful natural environment. Imagine a feast where grains, fish, and dairy products form the backbone of every meal. Smell the earthy aroma of barley bread, or the rich, mouth-watering scent of smoked fish, as it wafts enticingly through the long houses. Simple ingredients, elevated through inventive preparation and shared across tables. Join this lively household where family and kin gather around the crackling hearth, wooden bowls filled with stew and platters laden with lamb or pork. The air carries the tang of fermented foods, from sour milk to tangy pickles, hints of vinegar or mead mingling amidst the voice each tablespoon, a testimony to the Viking mastery of preservation at the heart of their nutrition. Mainstream historical fact: the Viking diet was both seasonal and local, relying heavily on marine staples like fish, with meat, cereals, and dairy products forming the core of sustenance. Beyond food's necessity lies the complex tapestry of community life. The meal is both celebration and sustenance, where bonds are renewed and warmth is echoed in laughter shared over communal platters. Picture a world where foraging for berries and mushrooms forms part of the daily rhythm of fusion of survival, skill, and innate connection to the land that permeates Viking health and wellness. Care and remedy intertwine naturally with ingredients sourced from the wild. Envision a sage mixing herbs carefully from a collection of trusted stanza potion, brewed to soothe ailments or invigorate through harsh winter nights. Herbal lore passed from elder to child reflects broader medical wisdom, with holistic traditions cultivated over generations, ensuring a community's well-being despite adversity. Among such remedies lies a touch of humor, as imaginative cures weave charm into more serious routines. Imagine the chuckle of a Viking treatment involving a trusty onion clutched against aches, or nighttime healing embers tucked near aching limbs for comfort, a playful touch amid practical necessity. Yet, despite what might seem like the perfect balance of nutrients, Vikings faced hardships. Famine gripped them during lean months, and health was often subject to the whims of nature. Each year, marked by winters of scarcity, demanded ingenuity, a tightrope walk over the figures of survival with one foot firmly rooted in adaptive resolve. In pursuit of understanding their resilience, historians continue to debate how boundaries of nutrition bolstered or hindered Viking life. Were their diets comprehensive enough to sustain such endurance? And were external influences through trade and travel pivotal in diversifying consumption? These inquiries endure through the voices of time's eternal dialogue. As you pull back from the kitchen warmth and vegetable-laden table, the hearth's glow lingers, a beacon of community, nutrition, and care. Within this carefully tended nest, The Vikings master both subsistence and celebration, illustrating their adaptability in an ever-revolving cycle defined by nature's rhythms. Permit this comforting harmony to settle over you like a woven shawl. Let memories of fragrant dishes, simple cures, and woven connections escort you into rest. Drift now into slumber, guided by the lullaby of the ages, where healthy bodies and resilient minds traverse the shores of dreams, and each step echoes the softer beats of life, our timeless odyssey of a community in concert with nature's sustaining embrace. As the gentle glow of morning sun casts its light upon the land, the swirling shadows of a bygone era reveal themselves in age, on the brink of transformation. You stand at the threshold of significant change, where the Viking world, gilded in legend and fervor, begins to yield to the relentless march of history. It is a moment of flux, marking the decline of an era forged by sea winds and seafaring souls. The Viking Age, a tapestry woven from conquest, trade, and culture, begins to unravel, tugged by the threads of burgeoning kingdoms and newfound religious fervor. Picture a land where Norse gods once reigned supreme, now witnessing the encroachment of Christian missionaries, armed not with swords, but with doctrines that promise salvation in place of Valhalla's feasting halls. The sound of a chapel bell cuts through the morning mist, a clarion call capturing a shifting worldview, its tone reverberating across fjords and valleys, heralding an era burgeoning with both hope and upheaval. Ships, once vessels of plunder, transform into harbingers of change, ferrying not only goods but ideas that reshape landscapes both physical and spiritual. Examine how internal dynamics evolve. Chieftains and jarls, once mighty rulers, now find their authority challenged by the rise of centralized monarchies. The lands divide and consolidate, no longer ruled by powerful tribes, but by emerging states. The air bristles with both opportunity and trepidation, as feudal powers begin to assert control over territories once fiercely independent. Mainstream historical fact. The decline of Viking power was due to various factors, including political centralization in Europe, the establishment of fortified cities, and the spread of Christianity, leading to fundamental shifts in their way of life. Amidst these sweeping tides, personal stories of adaptation unfold. Imagine a Viking farmer contemplating the banners of a new faith unfurling against the sky, a sign of security amid uncertainty, and the potential for peace where once only conflict reigned. As pagan symbols yield reluctantly to the cross, a new narrative tapestry is woven on, blending the old and the new, forging an enduring cultural legacy. Consider, too, the external pressures from European powers that threaten once dominant Viking forces, with evolving military strategies and fortified coastal defenses. The seas that promised conquest and glory now offer challenges and obstacles, as Viking raids give way to diplomacy and assimilation. The once conquerors are absorbed into the greater European landscape, their legacy intertwined with the nations they helped to form. Historians still debate the primary catalysts for the decline. Was it peaceful integration or internal dissolution that shaped the end of the Viking saga? Did the unwavering Christianization herald a new dawn, or were economic and political vectors more decisive? These questions swirl through scholarly discourse like the keening winds across an autumn fjord. Step back from the cusp of change and let the verses of transformation echo within you. Feel the solemnity and excitement of an epoch drawing to a close, and the seeds of modernity taking root amid the remnants of the past. This shift resonates across time, asserting both an ending and a beginning, a narrative rhythm that lulls even as it invigorates. Embrace this twilight of one age as it gently merges with the dawn of another. Let yourself be lulled into reflection, the whisper of evolution carrying you softly into slumber. Drift into dreams charted by both the aspirations and resolutions of the past, their woven narrative imparting a gentle lesson that in the space between extinction and emergence lies the quiet promise of renewal, sleeping beneath the veils of history's long embrace. You linger in the soft shadows of history, where the dusk of the Viking Age finds its reflection in the eyes of their enemies, a kaleidoscope of perspectives painting the Norsemen both feared and revered. As these daring seafarers etched their mark across Europe, they were seen through diverse lenses, whispered about in the quiet warmth of monasteries, and strategized against in the chaotic halls of kings. Imagine stepping into a medieval scriptorium, the air heavy with the scent of ink and parchment. Monks, hunched over illuminated manuscripts, etch stories of Viking raids in vivid detail, each stroke of the quill, a blend of dread and admiration. Their tales convey more than mere reports. They are accounts that form and inform the perception of the Northmen as racing threats emerging from mist-clad fjords. These narratives cast the Vikings as a formidable force, their lightning raids leaving charred echoes across coastal towns. Yet, amidst fear, there lies an undercurrent of intrigue. Monastic scribes record tales of Viking valor and cunning, unwittingly memorializing the very foes they branded with terror. Despite their dread, there exists a grudging respect for the Vikings' maritime prowess and their relentless spirit, a historical friction between fearsome adversary and romanticized warrior. Mainstream historical fact: Viking raids on monasteries, such as the infamous attack on Lindisfarne in 793 AD, characterized the Norsemen as both brutal invaders and savvy navigators in European chronicles. Beyond the cloistered walls of the church, European rulers faced the Vikings as both enemies to be repelled and rivals to be bested. You can almost hear the murmured strategy of kings and generals, fusing wisdom and fear in their plans to curb Viking advances. Fortress walls rise taller, fleets bolster strength, and alliances form, influenced by this formidable foe. Feel the weight of a Viking helm. Both shield and sword become symbols of a mindset, the embodiment of raids extending into the fabric of those who oppose them. Yet beneath this armored veneer lies complexity. The dual concept of Vikings as both destroyers and traders, mirrors of evolving medieval politics through the perspectives of those they encountered. Among these shifting perceptions, certain communities integrated rather than resisted, as alliances forged with opportunistic vision embraced the Norse spirit within emerging cultural frameworks. Picture a European lord negotiating with Vikings, not with sword drawn, but with fealty offered in exchange for peace and prosperity. Yet, historians still grapple with perceptions painted through time and text. Were the Vikings an existential threat, or an opportunity for fortified growth? Did they inspire unity among divided lands, or sow discord that drove them apart? These actions remain a vibrant tapestry of contradiction and conjecture, with scholarly voices continuing to probe the very essence of their era's reverberant impact. As echoes of this storied past begin to fade, step back from this vantage, reflecting on a world seen through adversaries' eyes. Perception and reality intertwine, crafting stories both whispered and shouted across the echoes of centuries. Allow the distortion of time to guide you gently into rest, wrapped in the duality of history's gaze. Surrender to the gentle caress of dreams shaped by tales of complex opponents, where shadows roam still illuminated by dormant fires, whispering beneath the quilt of night. Close your eyes, knowing that perspectives once opposing have fused to form a richer narrative, cradling you softly to sleep within the embrace of shared human experience etched across history's grand tapestry. As the starry sky blankets the earth, the legacy of the Vikings casts long shadows that ripple through time, finding new life in the imagination of storytellers and artists. Across the threshold of history, you are welcomed into a world where Viking lore intersects with modern culture, where ancient sagas and myths reinvent themselves through literature and cinema like echoes carried on the winds of time. Imagine yourself in a dimly lit room, the flickering glow of a television, or the rustle of pages drawing you into tales of the past, reframed for contemporary audiences. Whether on screen or in print, the Vikings are larger than life. Their helmets and axes icons of adventure, a peculiar mix of historical fact and creative reimagining. Their enigmatic aura captivates audiences worldwide, where facts coalesce with fantasy to create narratives as engaging as they are varied. Consider the allure of the Viking aesthetics, rough-edged beauty and primal energy, from longships slicing through stormy seas to warriors clad in furs and iron. The visual poetry of this world, though often exaggerated, has captured the collective imagination, inspiring countless adaptations that tug at the thread of authentic history woven into the fabric of Norse mythology. Mainstream historical fact: the resulting modern portrayals of Vikings in popular media often merge historical elements with mythological and fictionalized interpretations, blending aspects of culture and legend into a tapestry infused with adventure and exploration. Within the pages of books or illuminated by cinematic lenses, these narratives weave in elements of Norse mythology, creating vivid new heroes and heroines who battle both supernatural forces and earthly foes. They speak of universal themes such as honor, bravery, and the quest for glory, resonating far beyond their roots in Scandinavian soil. Yet, amid the dramatic reinterpretations, there is often gentle humor and a touch of sarcasm, characters knowingly winking at their own mythic stature, playful nods that bridge ancient and modern storytelling, inviting audiences to explore the complexities of Norse legends with an open heart and a searching spirit. Step beyond fiction into reality, where Viking-themed festivals and reenactments bring these tales to life. The past reconnects with the present as people don historical garb, reenact battles with theatrical flair, and celebrate old traditions in vibrant public gatherings. Community and participation become keynotes in the symphony of Viking legacy, allowing modern participants to engage with history dynamically. Despite these modern adaptations, historians remain at odds on how these portrayals affect public perception. Do they romanticize elements of the culture at the expense of reality, or playfully enrich understanding through artistic interpretation? Are these narratives shaped by cinematic spectacle and literary flight, rendering the Norsemen as fantastical figures while undercutting the grit of their true existence? The debate enhances the dialogue between past and present, reflecting the intricate dance between fact and fiction. As you step back from this re-envisioned world, sense how history, shaped by imagination, becomes a living force, redefining its own story while preserving its essence. Each adaptation kindles renewed interest, drawing one further into the enthralling embrace of tales both timeless and timely. Let your thoughts drift to rest, following the mapped constellations of myth and literature, allowing them to guide your journey into the depths of sleep. Enriched by the duality of history and creativity, rest assured that the Vikings' legacy dances in the spaces between truth and Toil, phenomena that beautifully capture the quiet allure of exploration and endless storytelling. In this timeless world, let both ancient whispers and cinematic echoes cradle you into a serene and dream-rich slumber. As the night deepens and whispers of history swirl through the air, the quiet impact of Viking influence comes into focus, woven subtly into the language and culture of the modern world. Here, amidst the river of time, you are invited to uncover the nuanced footprints left by Norse settlers and explorers, their legacy hidden in the everyday vernacular and customs that often go unnoticed. Imagine the rhythmic cadence of language flowing effortlessly from your lips, unaware that Norse words resonate within the syllables. Their language, Old Norse, has threaded itself through the tapestry of modern English, leaving behind familiar words like sky, egg, and window, a linguistic heritage embedded in day-to-day communication. These traces, inconspicuous yet mighty, echo the interactions and cultural exchanges that began centuries ago. Picture a scene at markets bustling with life, where Norse traders bartered and mingled with local tongues, crafting a rich lexicon infused with the vitality of their voyages. The practical swaps of language and cultural nuances became milestones of integration, a seamless merging of identities across the spinning wheel of time. Mainstream historical fact: Norse language significantly influenced the development of Old English, particularly the dialects spoken in areas settled by Vikings, contributing to the evolution of the English language. Beyond words, delve into subtler cultural permeations, from the days of the week, named after Norse gods, Tuesday from Tyr, Wednesday from Odin, Woden, and Thursday from Thorto, the seasonal and agricultural practices that endure today. Consider how modern traditions, such as Yule, breathe remnants of ancient Norse celebrations, where family and community intertwined under the frozen sky, celebrating the returning light with feasts and time-honored rituals. Despite the passage of centuries, echoes of Norse law and governance continue to inform the modern world. Ideas of consensus building and communal judgment permeating certain democratic practices and local governance structures, like trial by jury and collective decision-making processes illuminated by ancient assemblies. While historians acknowledge such contributions, a gentle debate lingers over the extent and nature of Viking influence, whether their cultural exchanges deeply penetrated social frameworks or provided fleeting impacts absorbed into broader medieval European transformation. Is their legacy observable through enduring footprints or more ephemeral whispers of influence? The question persists, inviting scholarly contemplation. In this moment of reflection, juxtapose the subtle impact of language with the formative shifts wrought by Viking adventurers across the tapestry of Europe. Their enduring imprints are felt in the shared stories, cultural admixtures, and linguistic threads that lace modern societies, a gentle reminder that history is both an inheritance and an invitation to grow and learn from. As you rest among these gentle murmurs of time, let this hidden influence embolden your dreams. Let it cast a soothing canvas over your mind, where each whisper of Norse lineage stirs the calming waters of understanding and continuity. Fall gently into slumber, lulled by the soft whispers of history, where unseen threads weave you into the comforting fabric of the past, binding language, tradition, and human connection into one seamless dreamscape. Allow these echoes to cradle you towards sleep's peaceful shores, journeying through the quiet yet profound gifts the Vikings have left behind, a heritage unassumingly woven into the very essence of who we are today. The night settles deep around you, a gentle embrace of shadows and stars weaving their way through your thoughts. As history's quiet sonnet begins its final verse, feel the whispers of the past softly entwine with your dreams. Here, amid the gentle lapping of time against memory's shores, are the whispers of the past that call for rest. Traveling through time's tapestry, you have brushed against the vibrant threads of Viking life, their stories weaving a narrative rich with bravery, discovery, and a delicate balance of myth and smudged reality. Each encounter has tightened the weave, allowing insights to dance across your mind, like the northern lights sweeping through a Scandinavian sky. The echoes of longships cut through the surf, each oar stroke a heartbeat in the silken symphony of the sea. The wood and iron, once honed for conquest, now carry only a gentle promise that sails upon the tides of time. The assurance that curiosity and courage never fade, only evolve, ushering humanity into new eras and inviting us into uncharted territories of knowledge. Remember the hearth warmth of every longhouse, its glowing embers casting stories of communal life, partnership, and the enduring strength found in kinship's bond. The tales spun by skalds have seeped into echoes, threads of verse and song forever stitching a patchwork quilt of time that now wraps lovingly around your shoulders. Histories have turned, Viking epochs blending into a patchwork of epochs, past and present. Dim shadows of once pagan rites mix with the familiar chords of everyday life, where ancient voices interview with the quiet murmur of evening walks, subtly painting the world with their influence. As history's gentle breath whispers you into sleep, picture the wisdom and whispers bound to bright sails gliding towards some distant horizon, carving paths along the edges of known territories both within and outside you. The gentle tug of dreams beckons you further, allowing history's currents to guide your journey into the stillness of night. Let this repose surround you, hushed with the soft symphony of ancient winds sweeping over lands and seas, weaving through the stars. Drift gently into sleep's tender embrace, knowing that Viking echoes shall cradle you through night's journey, whispers of adventures that rise and fall like the seas once charted by those daring explorers of old. Sweet dreams.